Hi everyone and welcome back to LL Sports, episode 5 of Keep It in the Family. It's both my honour and pleasure to welcome back into the building my younger sibling and brother, Robbie Lau, in the house. What are you saying, man?
Good, man. Good. Mixed after the weekend's Arsenal result because disappointing that we didn't get all 3 points in that game. We did actually lose there last year. I mean, a lot of people forgetting that, but
we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about, amongst other things, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about if we feel that the title race is effectively over, as a lot of people seem to be suggesting. We'll have a little talk about Spurs. I'll have a little laugh at them. And I'll end up by asking you your thoughts on the breaking news as we're speaking, which is that David Coote has been relieved of his duties as a referee. But let's get into it. And you know what? Before I go any further, there are a couple of things that I want to say. First one, shout out to Mikel Antonio, a friend of the show. And a very respected footballer, very likeable person as well. We heard about the horrific accident over the weekend. So our prayers and thoughts are with him and his family at this difficult time. Robbie, I'm sure you want to...
Yeah, no. You know what I mean? I got the news like on Saturday, you know. Funny enough, it's like one of our guys here, who's one of our guys who works in production, one of his friends in the fire service. So actually got that news before it actually broke. And... it was, you know, what they were saying, it was very bad. You know what I mean? Make no mistake, it was a very, very bad accident. And when you saw the car as well, you're like, wow, how has anybody even come out of that? The one thing I would say, sometimes when you see these cars in an accident, when you see that afterwards, it looks even worse because they've had to cut the person out of the car, but they had to cut him out.
Damn.
So, you know what I mean? And he was very banged up. And, you know, I was like, boy, I got to say a prayer, man, that this guy makes a full and speedy recovery because, you know, there was even rumours going around that he may not make it at one time.
I heard that too,
you know, let's just hope, first and foremost, that, you know, he makes a full recovery and then think about football later on. But, absolutely. You know, big blow to West Ham because, you know, he's...
the whole football fraternity. I mean, I've never met a single person that doesn't like Mikel Antonio.
No, Mikel, and if you meet him as a person, he's such a nice guy, you know what I mean? So it's really, really sad what's happened. But the most important thing is that this guy pulls through, you know, in the best of health and, you know, one day can return to playing football. But at this moment, it's not about football, it's just about this... Mikel Antonio's health and then just getting back to full health. That's the most important thing. And just thank God that, you know, he's still here because that was a serious, serious accident.
Yeah, well said, well said. And the second thing I wanted to say was on a more positive note. I just want to shout out White Yardie, who's also a friend of the channel. I went to his show last night in London, Shepherd's Bush Empire, and the man killed it, man.
No, he's brilliant. He's
brilliant stand-up performance. If you've never seen this guy, you got to see it, man.
No, he's fantastic.
Proper
He's
thing.
such a talented guy.
Yeah, proper things. And I brought somebody with me, my partner, and she's not really into comedy shows per se. That's probably the first comedy show she went to, and she really enjoyed it. So
had more than a laugh than when she's with you, right?
hey. Hey, you know what?
Hey, we're dropping jokes on him today, man.
You've obviously been in the company of White Yardie. You're picking up on his humour. But no, shout out to him for that. But listen, let's get straight in, man, because time's running. I know my production team, they're always on my case about times. So let's get started, man. Arsenal yesterday, London derby against Fulham. I think you alluded to it earlier, a place that... you know, it's not gone the best of us, for us previously. Didn't yesterday, 1-1 draw, very disappointing. 2 points dropped, I would say, especially when you consider that Liverpool weren't playing. Robbie, you were there. I know that because you were freezing your nuts off and you were very upset about it. So tell me what happened very briefly.
You know, the really strange thing about the game, right, is that we started very, very well. We were attacking them. We were on them right from the start. You wouldn't have thought we were the away team, you know what I mean? We dominated play. Everything's looking good. You know what I mean? You're thinking to yourself, this is going to be a day when Arsenal, they've turned up today. Because you know, a lot of times, especially away from home, you can start games slowly. We didn't.
Oh, we had been on a good run of form up until
and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's one little ball over the top. Kivior makes a little bit of an error. He doesn't see that Jimenez is going in behind him. And then... brilliant finish by him. It was absolutely clinical. I was shocked because I was right behind the goal. When it went in, I was like, huh? You know those shots across the goal, you're expecting it to just go past the post. And then after that, I felt that Arsenal, it's almost like they were shocked. It's almost like, hey, how could that happen? We've been so much in control. And then, you got to say they defended really, really well, made it difficult for us. We didn't really create much after that. And then in the second half, we came out much more positive, really stuck it on them. We got the goal. Should have scored again. Thomas Partey, I thought he missed us. Absolute sitter. And then there was the big chance right at the end. I mean, we didn't create enough chances because they made it really difficult for us. They literally... The only big chance they had in the game they took. Yeah, they had one other shot, and the game was played in their half, literally the whole 90 minutes, and they just held out. They were resolute. We just couldn't break them down. And then that big one at the end, we were all celebrating. We think, we've got what we've deserved out of this game, and it gets disallowed. The narrative would have been different on the game. Everyone would have been like, well done.
Can I just pick you up on that offside thing for a minute? Because... Martinelli was marginally offside, and yes, you could say there's an element of bad luck about it, but some people, and I've got to say myself included, are kind of erring on, well, listen, man, you've been a pro now for a number of years, you're a winger by trade, you're an experienced player, played many games for Arsenal, represented Brazil at international level as well. Surely you should be reading the game a little bit better than that because, that is your bread and butter. Yeah,
and I'm with you and all those other people as well. You're 100% right. He should have read that better. He shouldn't be offside in that position. You know what I mean? I know it's small margins and that, but, and I know, you didn't hear Arteta say anything about it, but I'm sure, when they got back to the training ground, they're like saying to him, yo, what's wrong? You've got to stay on side there. You know what I mean? There's the line there. You see, actually, the Fulham player straight away puts his hand up for offside. So they knew that was criminal. You got to stay on side in that position. And, Saka, again, in the right place. That would have been a good win because it's a difficult place to go to. Fulham are a good side. You know what I mean? I saw their game was it about the week before when they stuck it on Spurs? I mean, the Spurs were really...
Actually, that's not...
Yeah, but that was at Spurs, you know what I mean? Yeah. But obviously, they looked at it with us and they thought to themselves, we're just going to defend because they know how dangerous we are. And I do think some of the reactions, again, have been a bit over the top. Listen, I know that there's not hardly... We've drawn too many games this season, so now our margin for error is literally next to zero. But in a grand scheme of things,
draws.
You are going to have some games that you don't win. We ain't going to be perfect from now till the end of the season. I'm sorry, anybody who's thinking we're going to be, forget it. But
you alluded to it earlier about
too many draws,
15 games, 8 wins, 5 draws, 2 losses, 29 points. Currently 6 points behind Liverpool. We're second now. Chelsea have leapfrogged ahead of us.
Yeah.
My supplementary question to you is the title effectively over?
No, it's not. It's not over. It's not in my books. Listen, there's still, and it's not just, everyone just keeps saying us. Chelsea are in this race. They're a good side. I remember when we played Chelsea. They're a good team, right? So the title race is not over yet. Listen, look how things can turn in a week. Last week, it was over. Everybody said Liverpool were miles ahead. Then they go and draw to Newcastle. Right? And it could be other... obviously their game was postponed at the weekend. Who knows if that could have been another draw? You don't know.
But that's why it was
it's
so
too
disappointing,
early.
Robbie, though, because...
It's very disappointing because we
could have effectively cut that to
within 4 points.
Yeah.
Within 4 points, but they still have a game in hand and we've slipped up. It's no doubt. There's no denying that. And, we are not in the driving seat. We're not favourites at all now. And we weren't even before that game to win it. Liverpool are the favourites to win it. It's all in their hands. If they do their business between now and the end of the season, they'll win the league. As simple as that. But we know, over the years, it's not as simple as
Definitely
that.
Not.
And there's going to be other twists and turns. But certainly it's 2 points dropped, 100%.
At least we weren't the only ones in North London that had a certain level of disappointment because I feel it's only fit and proper, especially as things didn't go our way.
Yeah, you can't compare the two.
Laugh about Spurs.
Yeah, listen, we obviously, we're very disappointed because of what we're going for. They're a shambles right now. How can you go 2-0 up, right? And I remember we was at the game and someone said, Spurs are winning 2-0. And they're all getting excited. And I was thinking, these, man. I was thinking, how long gone? They go, what? About 20 minutes. I was like, nah, man. Nah. These lot, they'll mess it up. But I'm not thinking they're going to lose. I'm thinking it could still end up being a draw. Yeah. But to concede 4 when you're 2-0 up, and then 2 of those, as bad as Ange's tactics are, which the guy's got no tactical nous. whatsoever. Because as I said, you saw that game against Fulham. They're an attacking side. They changed against us and they defended resolute. That shows you a manager that's thinking a bit. Big Ange only got one way of playing and that's it. And that's what his big downfall.
But he was let down by the players.
But even on top of that, where I do feel sorry for him, is what was Basuma and Sarr doing, giving away those penalties, man. And then the way in which Cole Palmer just took the piss by just dinking a Panenka. He done that deliberately just to say, I got to give him full respect for that, you know what I mean? And, you know, what a game full of errors, you know what I mean? But
the fallout from that game, though, is it looked like Ange could be on borrowed time. What's your thoughts on that?
I think they got Southampton this weekend, which I've called out, you know, the
SACKED.
Well, not exactly.
No, but you know what? If they was to lose to Southampton, well, these positions pretty much untenable.
The two teams in the league, right, are the easiest teams to play against, right, to play through, right, are those two. That could be anything, that game. But I think if he loses that could be it.
You know what they should call that? You know what they should call that game? I'm going to play the way I played Derby. Because both of those managers, and that brings me to a point I was going to ask you, actually. It's like, what do you think of these managers like Ange, and in particular Russell Martin, when they trot out this, what I think is a lame excuse, but this is the way I play, I'm not going to change my principles. If I'm a fan of those clubs, I'll be saying, hang on a minute, my football club is not your personal pet project. You are employed by this club. You've invested millions in the club and yourself with players and your wages, etc., to keep this club in the Premier League. In the case of Southampton, in the case of Tottenham, is to ascend the league and to get European spot and win trophies. And you're telling me about I'm not going to change my principles when they're clearly not working.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think about it? Do you not think that, like me, to me that just sounds weird, bro.
It's ridiculous.
It's not about you. It's about the club.
It's ridiculous. Big Ange said after that game yesterday that, you know, what did he say? Something like, oh, no, I hear all these people saying this and that, but what's almost as if to say, what's wrong with that?
You don't care. That's what I think. That's what he said.
It's ridiculous. Care. You know what I mean? You ain't working, mate. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like last season, let's have a look at Tottenham right now, right? Last season, towards the end of last season, really they should have made top 4. They finished the season horribly, right? Losing loads of games. This season, out of 15 games, they've lost 7.
Exactly.
7 games, right? A team of Tottenham stature, right? It ain't working. Your style of play is not working. You need to make some changes to that style or go.
Exactly.
And Russell Martin...
and you're there adding insult to injury by telling people, I'm not going to change the way I do.
And then Russell Martin at Southampton, you ain't got a keeper that can play that style. You ain't got back 4 that can play out championship players, basically. They can't play out from the back every single time. Sometimes... if you're being, you know, penned in by good pressing teams, go a little longer and get the ball up the pitch. How many times have they conceded goals by trying to play out the back when the players are clearly not good enough to do it? And I would say this as well. What is that old saying? What is the definition of madness? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting things to change. And he's going to get sacked. He's going to get, I mean, because right now, you know what I mean, the way they're playing, he's, like you said, they're both on borrowed time.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not his personal pet project.
Yeah, and they will both deserve to get the sack when it comes. So, listen, it's crazy.
Imagine if you're running a business, a company, right, and you're getting losses every week, and your boss calls you in for a meeting. You say, well, listen, I'm not going to change the way I run things. This is what I do.
You can say that, and you're gone. You know what I mean? And I just see so much. You know, this weekend, there was so much ridiculous mistake. Anana in that United game. What was he doing? The ball's kicked straight at him. He just like...
Did you see the nonsense he was doing in the second half? There's like seconds to go.
Seconds to
and
go.
This man's throwing the ball in.
Like you're winning 5-0 or something. Or you're winning 1-0 and you're trying to waste time.
And then after all that, the man kicks the ball out wide.
That whole Man United thing as well, right? Like, you know... Ineos, the great Ineos, right? Look at the mess that they're making at the moment. They got that guy Ashworth from Newcastle, right? The guy was on gardening leave for about 5 months. Now they've sacked him. He was on gardening leave longer than he was at the club. Another mistake by them. I've not seen what they've done apart from the only thing that they've done positive since they've been there is appoint Amorim. They kept on. They've bought players. You know, they kept hold of Ten Hag way too long. They went and spent loads and loads of more money on players when he clearly is not good at doing that because his selections of players like Anthony and that have all flopped. And then, honestly, they're they're just as big a shambles as the Glazers in my books. Yeah. I've not seen any improvement, really.
It's the early days. It's early days, yeah.
Early. They've been there a little while now. What have they done?
No, I'm talking about for Amorim and that.
I'm not on about Amorim. Yeah, I'm on about the guys above him. Ineos, they look a shambles at the moment.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know if United fans are calling it out. To me, that looks a shambles. And then I look at Ineos and I'm like, what have they really done in their football? The guy's a brilliant businessman, but what has he done in his, his sporting portfolio? He's taken over Mercedes. They've got worse, right? He took over the cycling team. They've got worse, right? He's got Nice Football Club. They're average. And he got United who are average.
Seems to be a pattern developing here.
I don't know, man.
But one thing I would say is, this time last year, me, you and everyone was laughing at Chelsea, saying, look at the way Todd Bowley's running that club. And this year,
yeah, all right.
To be fair to them, they're kind of pulling.
Well, they have spent 1.5 billion quid. We were doing it. We had it over on because Chelsea are getting on my nerves a bit now as well, right? I'm attacking everybody today, right? Chelsea are getting on my nerves a bit at the moment as well. This whole thing about we're not in a title race, trying to pretend like they're Brighton or somebody.
Stick your chest out, man.
Or they're trying to pretend like
own it.
Like you say, Nottingham Forest. If they said that, Forest or Brighton, and fair enough, right? Because these men, they've got the squad. They spent 1.5 billion. They've got players like Yao Felix and Nkunku, player like that on the bench. Yeah. Who else could do that, right? You spent the money to challenge for the title. You're in a title race. When Arsenal got into that title race situation, that was way ahead of schedule. And everybody shoved them up and said, you're in it. And we were in it. Yeah. Stop this rubbish about you're not in a title race. You are in a title race. Shut up.
But you know what would be the irony of all that is if they do drop out of it, there's going to be a lot of their fans cussing them, saying, we were in the title race and you blew it.
Well, you're in it. Like
but I can understand why the likes of Maresca probably ain't going to want to hype it up too much.
Yeah, well, listen.
Because they want to operate under the radar. I get that. But some of the fans
you're not under the radar. Annoyed. You spent £1.5 billion. That ain't under the radar. You spent the money to be in the position. You should have been, not in the position they are now, but it should have been higher than that last year. As I said, look at that squad. Who else can leave a £105 million player like Enzo Fernandez on the bench? Mudryk, 88 million, can't get nowhere near the team. João Felix, Nkunku. You know what I mean? They got players like that, Bala-Shield and all. They ain't even seen the light of day They can play a completely different team in the Conference League. Rest 10 players. And then you're there trying to behave like you're some little mid-club. Oh, I'm not in a title race. Oh, boo-hoo,
nice try,
man.
Chelsea.
Ain't
nice
working.
Try. Yeah. But yeah, man, I do agree with that. You know what I mean? We're not in it. We're not in it. Come on, man. Stick your chest out and own it.
Come on, Chelsea fans. Stick your chest out there, Matisse.
Own it, man. Own it.
You did it in your videos the other day, so stick it out again.
We're sort of entering the home straight now, so we're going to be wrapping up soon. But I do want to ask you very briefly, the news broke today, so if you're watching this at a later date, the news broke today, but David Coote, inevitable, yeah? He got sacked.
Right. Inevitable, isn't it? I mean, the first video, when I saw that, I was like, with the one him slagging off Klopp and that, I was thinking, you can't referee again. This is.
I thought for that one he might hold a year out or something.
I'm thinking to myself, there was a lot of people saying maybe give him a year off, and I was thinking even then it's doubtful. But once you saw that second one, where he was snorting the alleged white powder, right?
Archie Bunker.
I just thought that's it, you're done. And they've come out, they've done their investigations, and basically they've said he's sacked. And it's the right thing to do, and
his position was untenable.
There's bigger questions now for referees. Should referees be drug tested before a game? Yeah. That's number one.
I heard your daughter say that. Shout out to Kenya.
Yeah. Should they be drug tested before a game? You know what I mean? Because and then there's got to be. I don't know what they do, but when I saw those videos, I'm like, who else has got videos of him? Could they have been saying, "Yo, Dave, if you don't make such and such team lose, or if you don't give a penalty
he's put himself in a very vulnerable position.
I mean, how stupid. How do you video these things as well?
Do you not, though, have a slight degree of empathy? Because he's clearly got issues. I mean, you spoke about the Archie Bunker before, but he seems to me that a man.
He's definitely got issues, yeah.
So do you not have a degree of empathy for him?
On a human level, you know what I mean, you feel sorry for him, but he needs help. He can't referee. We're talking about the game of football. You need referees have to be of a certain level. They have to be of a certain integrity. And doing some of the things that he did, that's gone. So yes, from a human level, I hope that he can sort his life out, and then whatever he does in the future, he can come back from this. But from a footballing level, he had to go. He did no way. I don't think he can ever referee a game ever again, or not even a Sunday league game.
We've had our laughs about it. Come on. Everyone's had their laugh, but on a serious note,
from a human level,
on a human level, it is quite sad to see a man lose his career like that.
He's thrown his career away. It's sad.
Yeah. And also,
he's a top. You know what I mean? He was one of our top referees, and he's literally just tossed it like that. And
I hope he can get his life.
I think the learning from that has to be for all the other referees. Is like, come on, you got to get yourself together.
100%.
And if you do need help, get that help. Don't make it.
Sounds like he needs help. Man.
Yeah, don't let it get to that. Then when you know it's too late. You know.
And just finally, big game coming up during the week, Champions League. I'm not going to ask you for a preview or anything like that. Just quick thoughts on the result.
Massive game. Yeah, I think we'll get the win. We're at home. It's a massive game for Arsenal. Chance to the thing is about it, like after you've had a disappointing game, you got a chance to bounce back, and it could be a significant game as well because Monaco have been going all right in the Champions League. They're right up there. I think if we win that game, it really does put us in the driving seat to get one of those top 8 places, which means you don't have all them playoff games. So a very important game for Arsenal, but it won't be easy.
Result?
I ain't seen much of Monaco, but let me go 3-1.
3-1. Yeah, you know what? I predicted that earlier on an AFTV show, so yeah, I'm with you on that. But Robbie, thank you very much. Probably production going to have a go at me because I've overrun my time, man. But it's a pleasure talking to you as always. You know, no, but you know what? There's so much to talk about. As I always say, man, the Premier League is the gift that keeps giving. But thank you very much. Shout out to all the people watching. Really appreciate you watching. Please, if you're new, like, share and subscribe. Plenty more videos on this channel. Catch you on the next one. We are out.